Hello, folks. It is I, Noob Mister. I am back with the Game Time podcast, where we talk about life, gaming, and all that good stuff in between. And remember, you were only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the actor who said that line. I know who he is, I know the film, the name is just failing me at the moment. So...
Micset will make you happy.
Hello.
Okay then. Yes, Micset is here and he is making us smile. He's not making us happy in that other content. I don't know where I'm going with that anymore. So yes.
Smile.
Yes, Game Time podcast, we are here. We are queer. We don't want any more bears. So I have absolutely my mind is not in gear this morning. I'm attributing that mostly due to the fact that I went to bed late last night because I was up until like nearly 1 in the morning live streaming a game, but I will get onto that in a moment. But yes, I am being joined by Micset and we are here once again. So, life. Let us talk about life. So, Micset, what have you been doing in the realms of life?
Well, I got embarrassed on Monday when walking to work. A bird shat on me.
That it? Bird
yes. Right on the center of my hat, dead on. I actually panicked for a second. Thinking that, does this stuff stain really easily? I started rushing to work to wash it off, but thankfully it came right off.
Yeah, because it's mostly, like, oil-based or something, so it, like...
Yeah, well, I don't know that.
Or at least I'm fairly certain it's, like, mostly oil, given what they eat. But then again, just be thankful that it landed on your hat. Try having one right in the middle of your head. Yeah.
That happened to me once when I was burning some old papers for Dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a pleasant sensation to have this sort of wet sensation hit you right in the middle of the skull, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then you put your fingers on it, and you're just like, oh, I know what that is. It's gross.
To quote the spy, yeah!
Is this? Mon Dieu!
I hate you!
I have been shown who is the swan. It kind of says a lot when we're having to sit here and resort to just quoting TF2 lines because we literally don't have anything to talk about. And yet somehow, last podcast, we went for over an hour. Somehow.
I hope that's a good thing.
Well,
I got another life thing that I'd like to ask.
Yes?
Not sure if you'd have much to talk about it if you don't have any experience with it. But I wanted to ask, have you had any experience or history with firearms?
I've used, like, a rifle once. It was, like, a very, very standard bolt rifle, and it was using, like, the smallest pellets that you could think of. It wasn't even, like, a proper, like, black powder bullet casing firearm kind of thing, so... Yeah, I pretty much have had really no experience outside of, like, BB guns and that one style of rifle that I can't even remember what type it was because it was so long ago that I did it.
Well, I wouldn't be able to recognize them that much anyway, because I don't know guns off by heart or the specific models like M9 and all that. But I do remember in my youth when I used to be on the farm. Well, me and my family used to be on the farm.
Are you? You were a farm boy, were you? Did you want to go down to Tossley Station, get some power converters, Don't forget
the headlight fluid.
I made a Star Wars reference while doing a stereotypical farmer's voice, or gotta go eat some manure.
But don't forget the headlight fluid and some elbow grease.
I don't remember that one.
Red vs. Blue. First season.
I don't watch Red vs. Blue. I sit here and watch me shows on me old 6-inch TV, you are.
Harvey, you be losing the plot, or shall I continue?
I think I might. I lost the plot ages ago. You can continue. Now I've started to do a different voice. I think I've started to almost go into a pirate voice now.
You're
And
trying
I
to
can't
kill
keep
me
doing
here?
that either because that's hurting my voice. That's hurting my throat. So you can carry on. You were on the farm.
Yeah, here's some advice. Stop!
It's
But
time to stop.
God damn it. But I don't remember how often I ever used a rifle on the farm, but we definitely used shotguns a lot when hunting for those fucking hares and bunnies. Um, I
Hmm.
think the one that I used the most, though, granted, it was mounted on the pickup truck, and I usually had either one of my brothers or my mom or dad hold me from behind, making sure I don't fall or anything. But we were using a double barrel shotgun, and
Ooh, one of those kinds.
I think it was somewhere between I was 8 to no, was I still yeah, I think I was 8 years old or so, maybe younger. Yeah, I helped out a lot, and again, I'm not sure if I talked about this, but I'll never forget the first time I actually sat in the pickup truck rather than in the back after we had picked up all of the kills for the night. And I happened to be put right in front of a tub full of a bloody tub full of dead bunnies. One was twitching. I pointed it out, and my brother just casually reached down and snapped its neck right in front of me.
Oh,
I I felt sorry. Yet I had no
traumatized
problem
for
shooting.
life, more like.
I didn't feel traumatized because I was already shooting bunnies with a fucking shotgun, 8 years old or younger. But
That's good point, I suppose. I forgot about the fact that you were shooting them. One of the most
I was either
obvious things in this entire conversation, and I completely forgot about it. But continue.
And I think I was either 11 or 12 when I had a go at shooting it for the first time without it being mounted. I fell on my ass.
I was just with the amount of power that double barrel shotguns like that have, it doesn't really surprise me.
And I still can't remember how old I was later on when we moved further into Wangred and whatnot, but I attended a gun club eventually because I was curious to see if I still had my old skills. But instead of shotguns, we ended up using regular rifles.
Hmm.
I learned, oh, pardon me. I learned some basic tips, like for example, ease the trigger, don't, and also when you're about to fire and you're aiming with a long rifle, have your palm flat. That's one I especially never really uh, I can't believe I didn't think was actually a thing. Have your palms flat when you're about to fire the rifle.
Why would you need to keep your palms flat? I'm trying to. I mean, I'm guessing it's obviously got something to do with the fact that when you get the kickback on the rifle, your hand's not scraping along the barrel and you're giving yourself friction burn, but or it helps
Well,
with your aim,
actually, in this
or
case, it was more like if you have trouble keeping if you, keeping your fingers not from twitching or moving. I realized that my accuracy or stability, whatever the word would be in this case, was kind of a little bit off until I had all of my fingers off and it was just resting on the palm of my hand.
probably because of the way you're gripping it, you're
I took
probably gripping it too hard
that
and
little
pulling.
technique to
I don't
heart,
know. I
especially.
don't understand anything about guns. All that I know is that they shoot bullets.
I
So,
lose you?
what?
Sorry, did I lose you there?
I don't know. Did you?
All I heard you go was and then you just went silent.
Because I stopped talking.
Well,
What is
anyway,
I need to get fiber optic broadband. This is pretty much just cinched it for me. I need to buy a fiber optic broadband connection.
anyway, I eventually ended up quitting the gun club because I kept showing up late and ending up with only the left-handed rifles.
I didn't realize that
Uh,
guns had a left and a right hand.
yeah, like certain rifles have the engraving where your palm sits and all that. Yeah, with the left-handed rifles, it's reversed, so you have
Ah,
to hold it. Yeah. But so
sounds
anyway, ever
uncomfortable.
since I left the gun club, every time I went to the air rifle ranges at the showgrounds, I never missed a duck.
You are now a skilled huntsman. You can now go shoot things.
But here's one thing I realized I actually never had practice in. I even had practice with both bows and crossbows on the farm and even, well, at our house, on certain conditions. Well, at least with the only guns we had license for. But uh, I've never actually practiced a with a pistol before. I've held plenty of them. I've even held Dad's awesome sidearm, but never fired one.
There's probably going to be a lot of kickback on that.
Hmm.
So,
You know, that reminds me about stop me if I've talked about this, but I was a motorbike rider before I was a chain or push bike rider.
really?
Yes, on the farm we had a total of I think it was four or three bikes. I think it was four, but there was one that which was the smallest. It was a PB50. In fact, I think I remember seeing an image once of. Hang on.
The only
I'll,
kind of bike that I have ever ridden is a quad bike, but that was at summer camp. And that was when they used to have those, sort of like little, safety plugs that they had to put into the back, and they would walk up behind you, effectively holding you on a leash with the quad bike. So if you tried to go too far ahead, the plug would pull out and the engine would cut out. It was literally a limiter on on how fast you were able to go. But then eventually, at one point, when they were confident that you could go around by yourself, they actually gave you the cable and slotted it around your wrist, and you were able to go around as like fast as you wanted within reason. So yeah,
and here I just found an image. This looks identical to the PB50 I had on the farm.
uh huh.
This was the one I rode as a kid when I was somewhere between
Oh,
six. I think I
okay.
was 6 years old.
You were
So
certainly
me and my brothers,
experienced.
yeah, me and my brothers used to ride all around the farm and all the different paddocks. My big brother and second eldest were mostly in charge of checking on the livestock, and sometimes my third brother joins in. But I always tagged along because I loved riding the motorbike, even though I had some bad experiences. Like once I got swooped a few times by a magpie. They really hate bikes, and I panicked and lost my balance, and my leg was trapped underneath the red hot engine.
Ah, I
I
can
was
feel
crying.
that. Every
I
time
was
somebody
crying
mentions a
for a
painful
long time.
experience, I just get this sensation going through my legs, and it's just like I can almost feel the pain. It's just anytime somebody mentions anything painful, I'm fairly certain I can almost feel it.
But funny enough, well, actually, kind of cruel enough. I don't know how to explain. Okay, next time that happened, though, ever since that happened, I started carrying around a plastic bat, and I actually got swooped again. But I actually hit the magpie and killed it. My mom was
Oh,
furious with me.
I would have. Yeah, it's just.
My mom loves birds,
Yeah.
and
I don't think I ever found out.
yeah,
I don't think I ever asked your mum about that when I was last over in Australia. But then again, that was my first time in Australia, so
oh yeah, mom loves fishies, mom loves plants, and mom loves birds. We have a huge homemade bird cage at our main house that is just full with all different types of birds. We had three cockatoos, two princess parrots, 25 cockatiels, and two galahs, and I don't remember the rest of the others, but I think a few budgies.
but
And my mom kept getting so many fishies that our main fish tanks were full, and she started using old vases, very big ones, as fish tanks, and she actually made it work. They
just
actually
trying
look
to
fairly
remember.
nice
That's
around.
actually quite a novel way of having like almost like a fishbowl or a fish tank. Use a clear vase or vase or however you want to pronounce it. Fill it with water. Stick fishies in it. There. Just make sure you don't stick the flowers in on top of that, because that would probably confuse the hell out of them.
Yeah, but
Not
yeah,
that they
my
would
mom.
not that they probably wouldn't remember anyway. It's just like, What's that? I don't know. What is that? I don't know. Who are you? What?
But yeah,
Sorry?
the whole
Wait,
reason I
what's
brought
that?
up the whole motorcycle thing was because when I moved onto a push bike, I struggled for years to get the hang of that thing. I apparently was a if I my dad told me I was a natural with the Pee-wee 50, but it took me about like 2 years or so to get off the training wheels of the push bike.
Obviously, because you're so used to the whole thing being on an engine rather than your own manual power that you've just sort of, you know, come to the point where you're just like you just couldn't sort of get that. I'm trying to think of the words to use here, but I'm terrible at trying to put them together into a sentence.
Maintaining balance while an engine automatically propels me forward versus having to manually push down a pedal while simultaneously maintaining balance.
Yes,
Was more
that.
than what my infant mind could comprehend.
Yes, that was what I was trying to say, but I am terrible at getting my thoughts out of my brain into my mouth and then proceed to articulate them correctly.
And by the way, that Pee-wee 50 I sent you a picture of, that's exactly what mine looked like, color for color.
Ah, you sure it wasn't the same one? Or you sure that's not yours?
This is apparently in Queensland, so I'm certain.
Okay, because you live in Victoria, yes?
Yes, for victory. Sorry.
Yes,
But
because my dad lives in Queensland, so
so
and I
that's
know how far
another
away
reason why
apart
I'm
they
a
are.
little.
Yep, yep, yeah.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm feeling a little nervous with trying out a pistol firearm. I am not stopping this time. You are deliberately doing that. I'm gonna
Yes,
continue.
I am deliberately doing that.
I can tell. But yeah, that's why I'm a little bit worried about trying out a pistol for once. I might try it eventually, but seriously, I think I'm gonna fail bad at aiming with the pistol versus how I was with the rifles. You see how I was not thrown off at all by your bullshit?
You're pretty good at that. If somebody did that to me, I would stumble over all my words because I have this habit of not really focusing on what I'm saying.
Second, I have to deal with that constantly at work, especially with this deaf person named wait, was it Keenan? Yeah, it was Keenan. I almost confused him with Chris.
Let's just hope he's not listening to this podcast.
Tell someone, could you please settle this? He's not listening to me. He's just being defensive, and I can't do sign language.
I know my sister's learnt a little bit of sign language because of something that she was doing with her theatre work, but I'm not sure when it comes to sign language what each thing means. I'm fine.
You're breaking up for me.
I'm fine. It must just be you then. Are you sure Steam isn't downloading something?
Yeah, I just checked, and you're all clear now. Alright, your turn for the whole life.
The whole life? Well, not much is really going on other than the fact that I'm now on medication for something. So...
At least, since you don't know the specifics at the moment, I'm assuming it's nothing very serious, otherwise you'd remember it.
It's something gastro or stomach related. I don't know what's been causing it for
oh god.
For some time.
Gastro. If it was real gastro, you wouldn't be here right now. It's the worst thing to have.
Yeah, or it's something to do with my stomach. Because every time I eat something, I seem to get this massive feeling of discomfort on my left-hand side. And it's like it sometimes gets really, really painful. And it also makes me burp a lot as well. And
wait, that's it?
I think it might be that my stomach's producing too much acid, or I may even have a stomach ulcer. So, I don't know. But now that I've started taking this medication, it's actually started to calm down quite a bit. So, I'm hoping that once I finish this course of medication, that the problem goes away completely. But if it doesn't, I'm just going to be like, oh great, that's £9 extra a month that I'm going to have to start spending on buying medication now, which I can't afford because I had to wait 5 months just to be able to afford the first lot in the first place. So yeah. Because over here in the UK, we have to pay for all our prescriptions.
It can't be gastro though, because gastro, you'll be puking and having diarrhea at the same time.
Yeah,
It's the
I
worst.
think it's like gastroenteritis or something. I've had mild versions of that where it was like, I was gagging or having the gag reflex, but I wasn't bringing anything up, and my stomach was just like rejecting any food that I ate. It was just like, yeah, I'll keep it down, but I don't like it. I'm gonna put you through so much pain that you're not gonna even know left, right, and center. So yeah, not wasn't a pleasant week to put it that way.
And again, whenever me and my whole family is sick, Mom is always the goddess at that moment because she is surprisingly immune and ends up, well, playing her role, her job, the nurse, and brings out all the medications,
She's probably got
all the ones we
she
need.
must have a special cupboard somewhere where she keeps all the stuff, and she's just like, right now, what do we need? Ah, yes, we need that thing from the top
Oh,
shelf.
let me ask you something. Have you ever drinking any type of medicine called Dimetapp?
I don't think I've ever heard of it. Probably because it is a brand that they don't sell over here in the UK. What type of medication is it per? Just like a.
If I remember, I think it's mostly for colds or something like that and coughs. But it was pretty much the only type of medicine that I loved drinking. Because the one that she always gave me was the grape flavored one.
Is it
It's
kind of like some sort of like almost brownish kind of liquid? Just
no,
a.
it's purple in this case.
Uh, no, because I was just thinking that there was
And when you
another type
drink
of.
it, it's like when you drink it, it's like drinking non-diluted grape cordial, except again, no water. It's very thick and very sweet, almost too
Yeah,
sweet.
because I think the stuff I'm thinking of, I can't remember the name of it. It was kind of like this very sort of brown, viscousy kind of stuff, but it had a really peculiar taste to it, and I didn't really like it. One thing I
The
definitely remember.
Dimetapp had an aftertaste that was like bubblegum. Go ahead.
Well, the one thing I remember is that when I was younger, me and my sister always used to pretend that we were ill just so that we could have some Calpol. Because it was a it's
Something
a
similar I did
children's
for the Dimetapp.
it was a children's medicine that was very very sweet, and it tasted like strawberries. And me and my sister always used to pretend that we were ill just so that we could have some Calpol because it was that good.
How often did it work though?
My mum cottoned on after a while, so it was just like when we walked over, we went, "Mummy, I don't feel so well." No, you don't. You just want the Calpol. So she kind of worked it out after a while that we were just pretending to be ill just so that we could have Calpol. And it was the
I
fact that
really
after
wish
we
I
had
could
the
see that. That would be
Calpol,
the most adorable thing ever.
it was the fact that after we'd had the Calpol, we then immediately started feeling better again. It was just so yeah, that was a bit of a big giveaway. But we were
She was like,
like,
they just wanted to drink it.
they just wanted to drink the medicine. But it was just like after a while, but it was the fact that we were okay afterwards that it just kind of was just a big giveaway.
Oh my goodness. Shall we still continue talking about life? Or shall we move on to one
Well,
of the
I
other
can just
topics?
all I will sit here and talk about is just how shit my life is, and the fact that I may end up having to give up my YouTube career yet again because I have been sitting there looking at my analytics, going, "Oh shit, they're all going down the toilet again." I don't know what's been going on the last couple of months, but I don't know whether there was like some sort of ad campaign or there was some big event going on or something, but all of my analytics were doing really well for like January, February, and March. But then all of a sudden, come to like the end of March, beginning of April, it's all just started to go downhill again. And I'm just sitting there thinking, what could have caused that? Did some big YouTuber like do a reaction video of like one of my Friendly Foxy videos? Or was there like like I said, just some big push for ad revenue during a particular point in time, and that now that that has ended, it's now just started to go back to sort of normal levels again. I can't work that out. Or maybe
My only
the
wild
other reason could be that because I'm producing so much stuff at the moment, including all the live streams, the animations, and the podcasts, because I'm getting so low views on things, there was that sort of initial bump of, oh, this guy's producing more stuff, let's promote his stuff more often. But because I've had bad viewer retention, it's going, well, he's posting more stuff, but it's not gaining any traction, so let's start deprioritizing everything again. So, I don't know, it's just a case of, I can't keep sort of jumping up and down, producing content, stopping producing content, and doing all this stuff, and still managing to make enough in a month to make sure that I don't have the bank knocking at the door going, oh hi, you've gone overdrawn by a certain amount. We're going to start fining you thousands of pounds. Okay, well how the hell am I supposed to pay that? Oh well, we're just going to start taking... We're just going to call over the repo man and have him take all of your possessions. So, yeah. That situation. So I've sort of gotten to the point where I'm thinking, I'm going to have to go and find regular employment, but that's proving difficult because I can't find any work. I spent like most of January and February applying for work and didn't get anything. So, going to be going and getting some careers advice in a few weeks' time just to try and work out what the hell's going on and why I'm not getting accepted for jobs. So, fun times had by all except me. So yeah.
Not even Funtime Foxy could turn this around, it seems.
No, that's I think that's getting to the point where the funny thing is with that, because you know, I'm gathering everybody has seen the April Fool's joke that I did from
Yep.
a few weeks ago.
Ha.
Yes.
Ha.
I might have talked about this last week, but the thing is, 1 week after after I'd posted that video, that thing had over 20,000 views on it. Most of my other videos are lucky if they break 5,000. And at this point, I'm sitting there thinking, well, that was obvious. It's just like, yeah, I put Friendly Foxy in the title of a video and everybody fucking clicked on it. So, at this point, I'm just, yeah, like I said, I am just sort of getting to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm pretty much just going to have to give up my YouTube career again, unless something happens in the next couple of weeks, which is why I'm hoping when I go to this convention, not this weekend, so not the Saturday that this is coming out, but the following Saturday, that I network well enough and I start landing some sort of connections that allow me to do big things, so... But we will have to wait and see on that, because it's not next week yet, so I have no idea.
I have no idea.
The answer to life, the universe, and everything. But anyway, enough talking about life, because I think we've prattled on enough about that. Let's get on to the gaming side of things. So, have you been playing any games that are new this week, Mikey boy?
No, but I was about to play Accounting Plus. Someone bought it from me.
Yeah.
And also, I had a very annoying moment in Warframe. There are now these events that now happen, well, that replace the events that change daily and weekly. They're kind of rotating achievements that give you points to progress and get some rewards. One of my ones I really hate because you have to be lucky and have these built up ahead of time. I always had the habit of whenever I get an I-10 sculpture, I immediately socket it up with all of the stars it needs to be fully powered. Now, because of a certain thing called that is weekly, fully socket 3 I-10 sculptures, I now have to not do that until I have at least 3. And I did have 3. Then when I was doing the last one, network error. This has never happened to me in Warframe before. And it happened while I was socketing it. I got kicked from the server. I logged back in. Oh, it's socketed. I checked my achievement. 2 out of 3. It didn't count! I have to do...
Isn't there a daily where you can actually get one of those sculptures?
I thought so too, but no, it's a weekly. So, and I've already done that. So I've done the weekly, that was my fallback plan, and well, again, it lagged out and it didn't count. So now I can't do the weekly event that guarantees me an I-10 sculpture to complete the weekly achievement. I have to go through the sortie and hope I get the lowest reward, which is the sculpture, or I have to find it randomly. And I never seem to find them. I've only found 4 in my entire life without
I
the
found
Morrow's
one.
event.
I found one randomly the other day. I was just doing what I was doing another one of the. I think it might have been one of the weekly achievements where
I'm gonna
it
have to
was.
wiki how often they spawn, because I need them! Ever
I
since that whole thing. God
like
damn
I
it.
said, I just found one randomly while I was just trying to complete a load of a particular type of mission. I think it was like a spy or a sabotage mission, and it was on a corpus map, and I was just running around, and I just was just looking
A
around for stuff on
sniper
the
is a
map, and then all
spy.
of a sudden I just noticed the sculpture sitting there. I was just like, oh hey, a sculpture, cool. I haven't picked up one of those in a while. Probably stuck that
I
down in
know
my
how I feel.
probably stuck that down in my orbiter because I don't sell them anymore because I've got too much endo. At one
Or as I
point,
like to call them, innuendos, because they're golden balls. It's an innuendo in itself.
yeah, I just have so much of that stuff at the moment. This is a thing with Warframe. I had this point where I was just like, I don't have enough of a particular thing, and now I have that
That's
thing
Oxium,
in
for example.
abundance.
Yep. Oxium was one of them,
Yeah,
which only
Oxium,
drops from Oxium
Polymer Bundles was
barriers.
the other one, and I really need to start doing that again with Plastids because I'm running out of those. So, but yeah, two games that I particularly want to talk about. One is Guild Wars 2 because with the Super Adventure Box, thingy event going on, and what's wrong with my nose. I am so sorry, but that has been sitting at the back of my throat for this entirety of the stream, and it has not dislodged. So apologies for the.
I am sorry, but I will. I'm sorry for making that disgusting sound, but I'm still going to describe in great detail of what makes it disgusting.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, back to Guild Wars 2. The Super
Yes.
Adventure Box event that they're running at the moment, it seems to me that it's a lot easier to gain the event currency than it has been in previous years. Because okay, so here's how it works. The Super Adventure Box in Guild Wars 2, for those who don't play it, is basically kind of like a throwback to old like 8-bit era sort of NES style games. And it's basically just a massive Guild Wars 2 jumping puzzle, or a series of jumping puzzles in that regards. And as you're running around, you collect these little things called baubles. And
And speaking of running around, I really love how that when you run around and jump and whatnot, it makes all those cute 8-bit sounds.
yeah, it makes a cute 8-bit jumping noise when you actually
Oh,
jump.
oh. And the game over, and continue
Yeah,
thing with the
you
closing
find
spike.
yourself
Classic.
tied to a pole with rising lava, spike traps, sharks, and a pendulum. So basically a throwback to the Final Fight game over screens.
And oh god, and your character screams out for help in 8-bit mode.
I actually thought that was Moto in front of you, sort of trying to give you encouragement to use a continue coin to continue on.
But there's no one else but you.
Yeah, but like I said, Moto is standing in front of you.
Oh, right.
Because he's the one asking you, do you want to continue? But anyway,
All right, point
as
taken.
I was saying, with these baubles, if you collect 250 of them, you can then go to a vendor and turn them into bauble bubbles, and that is the event currency. But you can also get bauble bubbles from completing the end of stages once per day, and you're also getting the bauble bubbles from achievements. You're getting normal baubles from doing dailies and things like that. Just generally speaking, you are getting so much of this stuff that you can now convert into other things, that I was sitting there at one point with like 9 bubbles, thinking, okay, I need to get 35 of these to get the World 2 boombox that you can use as a novelty item now. But within like a few days of just normal, very sort of minimal grinding, I had the 35 I needed to get this boombox. And there's still like 2 or 3 weeks left on, there's like a week or two left on this event. And I'm thinking, I'm going to be able to get enough baubles to get another 35 and potentially buy this gathering node that you can get for your home instance. And then that means I can get even more baubles, which means that next year I am just going to be swimming in those fucking things. So, yeah. They've just seemed to have made it a lot easier to just buy stuff for the event. Although, I will say one thing, I really, really wish that they would put an armor set in for this. Because they currently have weapon skins, but no armor sets. So, ArenaNet, if by any chance you do happen to listen to this podcast, next year's Super Adventure Box event, not only can we get World 3, please, but can we get some Super Adventure Box themed armor sets? That would be nice. Preferably ones that are not Gem Store exclusives, though. I want ones where I can just buy one piece of a particular part for however many bauble bubbles. You know, that kind of thing. So yes, and now, moving on to another game, the reason why I was a bit late starting the recording with the podcast with you today was because I was up last night quite late streaming a game which really honestly surprised me. Even though it is a very, very simple game, it's one of those games that really sort of makes you sit there and think, wait, what the fuck? And it sort of leaves you sitting there in stunned silence for a few minutes because you're just like, oh my god, that thing that they mentioned from before, that's the thing. That's the thing that they were mentioning for the thing. That's the thing! Do the thing!
Do the thing! Yeah!
Yeah, the game I was playing is called The Hex. And it's, well, the basic premise of the story is that you find yourself in a tavern or an inn for washed-up video game characters. And, the barkeeper gets a call from someone saying that someone in the bar is going to commit a murder, but you don't know who or who the victim is. And so what you do is that you play through all of these characters and basically get a bit of a backstory as to why their franchises failed and why they're all washed up and why they're in the inn for starters. And at first it's like, yeah, it seems to be like poking fun at several gaming tropes, like a series that did really well when it first started, but then somehow it like completely went downhill, and characters being removed from franchises to go and appear in another franchise, and the problems of Twitch chat, for example, which was kind of ironic considering I was streaming that on Twitch. But then after a while, the game does a massive 180 on you, and you're just like, whoa, wait, hold on. What the fuck? Did that just happen? What the hell is going on? And then things that happened previously in the game start making sense, and you're just like, oh, that's what they meant. And there was literally a point where I was sitting there pointing at the screen going, that was the thing. That was the thing that they mentioned back at the beginning. That was the thing. That's why they're doing this. This is why this is happening right now. And eventually after a while, I was just sitting there watching through like the first part of the credit sequence in just stunned silence, because I was just like, whoa, that was a trip and a half.
What was the game called again?
The Hex.
God.
As I said,
is it on Steam?
It is on Steam, yes, because that was the whole reason that I was able to get it, because it was part of my whole Chrono.gg thing. So
The Last Hex, or just The Hex?
The Hex. The icon
Okay,
should be sort of like a hex-shaped thing with like with characters putting their hands over
Gotcha,
it.
found it, yeah.
As I said,
Yep,
a lot of the reviews will probably just tell you what, because Philip DeFranco is also a member of Chrono.gg as well, and he said, because he was covering it on his show yesterday, he said a lot of the reviews are telling you that they can't really talk much about this game because you just have to play it for yourself. And I will say to everybody, I will provide a link down below for anybody that's interested, but the Hex, you really need to try it out because it just blows your mind after a few minutes. So, yeah, that is the Hex. Yeah, well, I don't really have much else to talk about because, of course, because of Article 11, or Article 15 as it now is, because they're trying to confuse everybody by changing the article names around. I, of course, can't talk about news items because I can't provide links. I am starting to think maybe I should try providing links to other people's YouTube videos instead, because they're covering news, and I'm fairly certain most YouTubers won't try and charge other YouTubers a link tax. So, for next week, I will certainly look into talking about some gaming-related news piece or something like that, and then provide you with a video that I pulled it from, so that I'm not being inconsiderate or anything like that.
Well, to be honest, talking about news is actually the one part of the podcast I don't enjoy.
Yeah, because I don't really sort of follow the news all that much. It's just like, yeah, this developer did this developer did that. You know, everybody's now doing paid exclusives on the Epic Store, despite the fact that it is completely inadequate for what it actually needs to do. So Epic, if you're listening to this, sort your storefront out first before you start buying any more exclusives. This is what people are pissed off at. You are trying to force them to use a store that is really lacking in what it actually needs. So sort your storefront out first, get the features implemented, and then focus on the exclusives. But even then, that will still likely piss people off.
Yep.
So, yep. I don't see much point in doing a DSP watch because I'm honestly, like I said last week, I'm honestly at the point where I'm just looking at this going, he begs for money. He doesn't get what he's after, and he then promptly blames all of his viewers, so...
DSP in a nutshell.
Yep, exactly.
Well, one crumble of the nutshell. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, because there's a hell of a lot of pieces to that fucking nutshell. So, yeah, I would say that was probably about it for this podcast. So, Mikey Boy, is there anything that you want to add, except for stealing my line?
Like I won't steal your line this time, but if you guys honestly want to see a good example of DSP's worst gaming, out of all of the This Is How You Don't Play series, I recommend seeing an edited video that's called This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. That one's my favorite.
That was the third game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I forgot which Solid game it was, so I just mentioned the.
I think it was the third one, because it was Sons of Liberty was the second one, which was where the whole This Is How You Don't Play series started, and then.
All right then. This Is How You Don't Play Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
There you go, the full title.
With the James Bond inspired like intro, which is still fucking awesome.
Yeah. I haven't actually played any of the Metal Gear Solid games. I think I tried one, or the first one.
Have you seen the intro for the third one?
I don't think I have. I think I know the song.
Alright, I'm totally showing you the intro after this podcast.
Okay, then. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add, so that is the end of the podcast, then. So, thank you for listening, watching, or doing whatever you were doing to engage with this podcast and consume it in whatever methods. And as always, Heavy Weapons Guy says...
Okay, enough.